Okay, I've returned to doing a little bit of deplating of my silver. So I've got some silver plated silverware. Okay, I've got it hooked up to the positive. I've got a little lead, I guess cathode, maybe anode, I don't remember. Anyway, you can tell it's got some electricity going through there, and salt water. Put a lot of extra salt in it to make sure. And what it will do is it will pull the silver off. You can actually see it kind of bubbling a little bit. And that's the cheapest way to get it off. Right now I've got it set on 8 volts maximum amps, and right now it's pulling 1.6 and going down, which generally means it's pulling more silver off. When it gets to where it pretty much stops, the silver's almost all the way gone. So we'll just stand by for now. This will eventually get very murky and dirty looking and start to change colors. You can actually see stuff floating on the top of it right now. This is the very first piece. I've got about, I don't know, 10 pounds of this stuff to go through. Last time I did this, I screwed up. I wasn't able to collect it all due to my mistake, not anybody else's. Now I'm going to go get a rinse bucket, and I'm going to get my wire brush, and I'm going to scrub this thing down into a rinse bucket to capture any remaining silver that I have to scrub off the spoons and forks and stuff. But what do you do with old cheap silver plated silverware? Well, I'm going to find out. Well, I've deplated the first spoon, and I left it in there a little bit. I walked off, forgot about it. So I think this is some of the brass or copper that's in there, the deplated out of it. This is the spoon. The upper part here is what I left in too long. You can tell it's real rough and sharp. Now that silver spot there, that was the last piece on the bottom I was waiting for. They generally put a thicker coating of silver right there because that's where the spoon sets and it wears out. So once that lifted, I had all the silver off the bottom, and I turned the spoon over. I'm trying to weigh them and see how much silver per spoon. Last time I did this, it was about 0.1 grams to 0.3 grams per utensil. So the lead's still bubbling up. The green down there, I'm pretty sure is copper or silver, and it's actually floating above the salt. And my rinse water has turned yellow. I honestly think that when they make these spoons, they coat them in zinc of some sort. That way the electroplating sticks to them. I think that's what the orange is, zinc. But we'll find out. Okay, I have been doing this for a little bit. I've got that pile right there deplated. I just put this spoon in like 6 seconds ago. It's already starting to deplate. That's the bubbles coming off the lead, giving off hydrogen gas. And that is the, I guess, zinc, copper, lead, silver, all of it down on the bottom, but mostly silver and copper. It's real fluffy. Watch this. So it's not like it's heavy duty stuff. It's real, it'll go way down when we shrink it down. But I'll end up filtering all that out and rinsing it off, and then compress it down, then melt it, and then dissolve it with acid. Something I can handle versus all these. Now the forks I have down here, I'm going to use a different process. I think I'm going to try the sulfuric bath with nitric acid in it and see what the return is on them. Also, I just measured this spoon at 44.1 grams. We're going to see how much silver we get out of this thing. I don't think I recorded that. Let me try to do it again. Watch this. That silver plating coming off. There's my rinse water, stuff like that. I'm not gonna measure again until that spoon's totally depleted. Alright, see that orange spot? That orange spot's either copper or brass that's oxidizing in the saltwater solution. Everything that turns black is leftover silver. I've already pulled it out and scrubbed it. Got most of it off. Even the backside has a lot of copper and brass in it. So, well, it's just normal. The spoons generally have a thicker coating on the bottom because of wear. Alright. I measured that spoon after I took all the silver off of it, or most all the silver off. It's 43 grams. So 44.1, 43, that's 1.1 grams of silver on that spoon. Now, as you can tell on the spoon, there's still a little bit, that black stuff's silver. There's still a little bit there that I'll get it off with the sulfuric nitric. But I started off on another spoon and it weighed 50.6. Now this thing's been in there a good 20 minutes. So all that silver fall off there. Now I'm going to scrub it down. Well, this is my mix of 4 parts sulfuric, 1 part nitric, and I can tell it's working. A bunch of the silver particles that were almost off yesterday just immediately fell off. There's some slight bubbles coming off of it. And after about 5 minutes, I rinsed one. You can tell the water's kind of whitish colored. That's the silver chloride that was just in a little bit on there, leaching to the bottom. So now all I have to do is stop and let it soak to get like that little circle of silver right there. And right there off the spoons, I have other spoons in there as well. This is the stuff that I've already deplated using electrolysis. But on these parts of the spoons, I generally plate them a little thicker, so when you set them down, they don't wear through as fast. And then I'll have to come back and do the tops of the spoons. But for right now, I'm just going to let them sit in here. It's a slower process, but my understanding is that it doesn't contaminate as much with copper and stuff, because something about the sulfuric acid attaching to the copper won't let it leach back off with the nitric that's in there. So it only plates off the silver, or dissolves off the silver, or very little copper and the silver. Now I can tell in that one here, right there, is very slowly eating it away, which is what I want. But being sulfuric, you got to be very, very careful. It will eat up just about anything organic. So I've got it on the back porch. I've got a strong breeze blowing through here, and if you mix it with water, it has a very, very high reactivity. It'll start bubbling and getting hot, splattering. So you need to make sure it's totally dripped off in the jar before you push it over and then scrub it. And I'm scrubbing it with a stainless steel wire brush. But so I'm just going to let this go. I'm going to walk off, do something else inside. Well, I am awful sorry. I have been stripping silver, and that's only half of it. That's all forks. I've got the same amount of spoons, and well, these knives here I need to pull the handles off and then just melt them down. I got a plate over there I still have to strip, and 2 more spoons in my bedroom, and a little bit of stuff right there. What happened was I just got fed up stripping it with the electrolysis, and I did the forks with the nitric sulfuric bath, which there's still some silver on there, but I just got tired of messing with it. So being as busy as I was, I've been cooking all weekend. My idea is to cook enough food that we can eat all week without having to stop in the middle of the week and cook. But in any case, I started dissolving all of it. I put everything in the same beaker, put some more nitric in it. That was all the silver chloride and the silver flake from electrolysis. And I put nitric in it, dissolved it all out, and then I dropped it with tap water on accident and salt water. And I've cleaned that up 4 or 5 times, and got the water real clear and switched beakers, and when I did, it immediately did that. And it's turned purplish gray, which tells me there's still silver chloride in that water. Oh well. So anyway, I went ahead and used the vinegar or the lye sugar method, and I'm in the process of cleaning it up now. This should be one of my last big rinses, but that's rinse water. That's rinse water. I just want to make sure I don't pour off any silver in there, so I'm going to let those settle overnight. And it came a thunderstorm all day today. This is Sunday. No, this is Monday. I'm sorry, Memorial Day. And in any case, it's hard to get out here when everything's wet. So let me pour this off and see what we got. Alright, I'm going to try to do this one-handed. Not going to be able to do it completely one-handed, but I'm going to go slow. That water's coming out pretty clear, so I'm just going to go real slow. You got to rinse this stuff so much. That's why I don't like the vinegar or the lye sugar method. But because I had so much silver come out of silver chloride, I felt like I had to. Grab the bottom of the beaker now. Ah, that's much better. It's not quite as pure doing it with dropping it with copper in the water, but it's still the way I wanted to do it. What I'm looking for is I'm trying to keep any residue or particulate from coming out. See some creeping up close. You can see down the bottom. So I'm going to let that settle out a little bit more, and I'll be back. Alright, I poured a little bit more off, and I went and got some tap water. I'm just going to pour it in here. Grab my little stir stick. Alright, we'll just let that settle out. I've got a pour off bucket. It's just with all the rain, I've got water between me and my shed right there. Well, I forgot to film the melt of the silver button that I got out of that silver. It's been a few weeks. I've been having trouble with my computers on video. But in any case, I've melted the button down. I need to boil it in dilute sulfuric acid to clean it up. But this is it, mostly cleaned up. 35 grams, so a little over an ounce from that silverware. Now, I've done a second batch, and that's in here, and that came out to, I believe, 26 grams. And then I've got another batch I'm working on outside on a totally separate melt, and I ran out. I this is the residue from that actually, that I ran out of acetylene for. So it's partially melted. I assume it's going to be around an ounce. And then there's a third batch that I stripped on different silverware. And I don't know how much that's going to be. I'm in the process of cleaning that up now. I'm trying to get every little bit out I can. I ran out of nitric, so I'm having to make my own nitric acid. So I probably just need to just melt it down and go from there. But in any case, so this was the silver. Yes, it's got a little slag on it. Little borax. That button's about an inch across. That was from where it was sitting in the borax dish. I'm going to melt it all down into one big button and pour it into a bar. I'm going to be making some jewelry with it pretty soon. So anyway, that's what I'm doing with it.